Hi there, my name's Sarah Sayers. I love crafting and I run a small business called Kiss Creative where I love showing people how to make things with paper, stamps and ink. So anyway, I have been asked by Danielle to show you my little 12 by 12, it's not so little actually, my 12 by 12 gift bag, which is a great way to use up all that DSP that we all have hidden, secreted in various parts of our house or craft room or wherever it may be, that pile of paper shame. And it's a great way to use them up and make more use of it. So we've all got paper that we perhaps fallen out with love with. It's too busy to put on our cards or projects, or we just simply have too much that it overwhelms us. So let me help you get rid of that paper and let's get crafting. So let's get our heads down. So hopefully you can see that. Oh, I'm not a massive paper crafter in terms of tech, but I do love showing people how to use things. So we've all got piles of paper. This is just one pack I have of pretty pattern paper. Now for this particular technique, what you want to do is find two pieces that are identical, and I would say for your first time probably pick something that is multi-directional. So this one here would be ideal, this pretty purples and peaches, or this one here with the dots and the peach here. I will be trying to use as much of this up to use as gift bags. I've picked this one here, this beautiful sort of neutral spot, but what I wanted to do, this has got some directional stripe on there, so I thought it would be a fun way to show you how to use that paper. So first things first, if you are going to do this, you need to have a scoreboard or a trimmer that allows you to score. Something like a crocodile, depending on how you want to add your ribbon, that is an optional piece. You're going to need some red tape. Tear tape and glue probably won't cut it. Literally won't cut it in this. You need something like either hot glue or red tape, some scissors, a bone folder, a take your pick tool or some sort of pokey tool just to get rid of that red tape. You're going to need some coordinating ribbon. Again, this is a great way to use up your stash. So I've picked this lovely blue that I thought would go rather well. And then you're going to need some sort of what I call grey board or card, thick card. I'm using this. It's the thick card that comes on the back of DSP. So I'm using that to create some rigour to my project. So anyway, without further ado, let's take our project. So the bags that I'm making, they're going to end up looking like this. I've made a few and I flat pack them so I can have a stash of them. They're ready to go. They're a really, really lovely size, as you can see, so you can fit lots in. Party favours, if you've got events coming up, you could fit chocolates in. You could fit a small plant in there, anything, but you'd obviously have to put it in a little bag or something to protect the bag. Anything that you would use a paper bag for. So they are great. I'll show you some more at the end. So in order to make sure when you've got directional paper, what you need to do is make sure if you've got directional paper and you want to use it, I think it's always easier to go for the top first. So I'm going to have that lovely turnover that we had. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score that at 1.5 inches. And then the other end, I'm going to score at 2.25 inches. There we go. So I'll repeat that for the other piece. I'm going to do it twice on each one. So again, I'm just going to check where my paper is, but make sure that's the right way around. So I'm going to have 1.5 inches. So that's your top. So when you're creating this is going to be my turnover, so to speak. You just need to make sure that everything is going the right way. So when you're putting it in, that's the way you want it. So if there's a direction to your paper, you want that at the top, and that will help you. Then we're going to turn around and make our bottom. So that's 2.25 inches. Right, so we've got both our pieces of paper, our top and our bottom sorted. Let's make our sides. So for this one, we are going to score at, I'll pull the side out here, 8 inches. That's going to make our front. 8 inches, 9 3/4. That's going to make our little gusset. And then 11 1/2. That's our second side. So you're going to have a little turn up at the side so you can fix it all together. So let me pop that to one side. Again, I'm just going to make sure I've got 1 1/2 inches at the top. That is my the top of my bag. So again, I want it at 8 inches. 9 3/4. And 11 1/2. There we go. Okay, so now we can pop that to one side. Actually, no, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut my chipboard, or whatever you're going to use to make your bottom. So you're going to cut that at 8 inches. And it's a great way to make a few. So, and what I'm going to do is cut this at 3 inches, so you get about 5, I would say, out of one piece of card, 12 by 12 card. So 1 2 3 and 4. It might be slightly larger, so I'm just going to make sure. Tiny little bit coming off there. So now I've got a load ready for my next batch of paper. So, and then this one probably will manage to be one more. So you get quite a lot for your free bit of cards. It's always worth keeping those. That's done with your trimmer for now, so you can pop that away. What you need next is your bone folder and your scissors. So I'm going to grab my piece again. Oh, and some glue. I forgot to mention glue. Glue is not compulsory, but what I find is the first thing I like to do is to take my, there we go, as my top. Just bone fold that over. I'm just going to do all the burnishing first. So that's my bottom. So that's going to go in the opposite direction. So that's my top. Then we can fold our sides in. This just makes the cutting a little bit easier. And I picked this because it had a nice contrast on it. And then our little piece at the side. Now you've noticed I haven't burnished that middle piece. There's a reason for that at the moment, you'll see, because that's our sides and top. I'm going to do the same on this one. So again, we're going to fold in our bottom, fold down our top, and burnish that. And you just want to make sure your school knives don't burnish too hard, because you don't want to crack your DSP. Some of the thicker versions can get a little bit crumpy when you try and do this, but I think this works really well. Right, so we've got all our burnishing done. So let's do our prep. So first things I'm going to do is take my scissors, and I'm going to cut up at the end of that first really large section. I'm going to skip the next one, and then when I come to this piece here, I'm going to cut up, and I'm going to mitre out the edge like so. Okay, and then at the top I'm just going to do exactly the same, just on that corner there. So we've got our piece all done. So this is all our prep, and just to give myself a helping hand, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this piece here, just making sure I've got plenty towards that corner there. If you're finding it too much glue out, just unscrew the other end of this Tombow and just spread it out. What you just need to make sure is that flap is going down, and spread that out. There we go. Love Tombow. It is my favourite glue. So there's our flap. You can leave it upright, but I just find it's easier to work with. Again, let's do that again. So I'm just going to take, I don't know what happened there. Little, the charms all decided to have a little party. There we go, up on the first one. Skip this one, this is your gusset. And then we're just going to chop out this just to create a bit less heaviness on the base, really. And then at the top here, I'm just taking that out just again to take some weight out at the top. Okay, so let's glue that down. Again, just making sure this corner here is the one that gets a little bit flappy. So just making sure it's got plenty of glue, and I'm just making sure this spreads to the edge. Don't take both edges off your Tombow, otherwise you'll have a runaway mess. There we go. So we've got all our pieces now assembled. So first thing we're going to do is fold this one over, so you've just got the tab. Let's give that another bit of a burnish. You can chop this piece off if you want, but I just find it gives a neater finish to do it this way. I always end up with a little bit showing otherwise. And we're going to glue this piece to that piece to create our tunnel. Now you can use glue or tape, it depends what works for you. I just find that this glue just works brilliantly for this project. As most of my projects, it's something I'm comfortable with. We all have our favourite glue and methods, but what you don't want is your bag falling to pieces. So again, just to give that a helping hand, I'm just going down with my bone folder to make sure all of that is nicely melded together. Then I'm going to tip it over, and you can see that I've got my other tab sitting there ready to go. Just again, just double make sure that that is nice and burnished. Again, just adding some glue right down to that edge, and then folding this one down to meet. Make sure that it's all nice and right angles, all the right angles are butted up together, and then again just give that a little helping hand with the bone folder, and you should have then your makings of your bag. You can just pop it the other way, just to make sure it's getting a little bit squarer. So now what we want to do is create our base. So what I tend to do is fold these two flaps in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue to this section here up to that score line, and then this section here, and that's because this piece is going to be open here, so if you add glue there, it's going to be sitting on the bottom. So I'm going to add that in there, and then sort of pinch these together. Now try and keep this here at a right angle, the edge of this paper at a right angle with that piece underneath, and then the same here. We'll just try and push those two together. Just want them to slightly mould. Right now we can go in with this one and go all the way around the edge, just to make sure we've got plenty there, and then fold this over, and there's your bottom. Just again making sure all those right angles there. We can just tip it over and give it a helping hand. You can use whatever works for you. I'm just going to use my glue, and just to go in there and just press it all down, just making sure, again, just making sure everything is all neat and tidy. And there we have our bag, or box. It looks like half a box, doesn't it, as well? It's a lovely, lovely big bag. Okay, so next thing you want to do is you want to sort of push where these extra score lines are. You want to slightly push them in and get them to meet. Now, if you just want to have this as a bag as a gift, you can just create your sort of gusset, so to speak, and just push this down a little bit. And that gives you the gusset you need just to create your width, and that's done. I like to have these stored and ready, so what I tend to do is I look where the neatest bits are, turn it over, and then I'm going to flatten this here, push this piece over, and then press it down. So when you get sort of paper bags from the shops, you find that, you know, when you go to one of those nice posh places, you get the paper bags and they fold flat like this, and it's exactly what we've done. So you will end up with a score, but when you push it out again, it's not too heavy and it doesn't matter too much, but you can have that as the back of your bag, so to speak. So there we go, we have our bag, but our bag has no handles. So how do we deal with that? Again, I'm just going to fold this down so it's flat, makes life a little bit easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon. Now there's two things you can do here. You can take a crocodile or a hole punch and you can measure in and you can punch your holes. Or what I like to do is keep it quite nice and neat. And let me just unwind this. There we go. Got this pretty ribbon. And I'm going to take about 30 centimetres, about 12 inches. And just give that a little trim. Here we go, and then you want to make two pieces for your handles, because you want to be able to get, if you do them across, it's going to be hard to get things in, but if you have them on the same side, then it will make life a lot easier. So this is where the red tape comes in. So I'm going to just grab a ruler and pencil. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do this, I just find it easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it's beautifully on that line there, about 6 centimetres in, or about 2 1/4 inches. I'm just going to do that again on this side, about 6 centimetres in, or about 2 1/4 inches. So there's my two pieces. I've got my ribbon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some tear tape. I'm going to add some red tape. Now this is a strong tape. It's available at most craft shops, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that right to the edge of here, and it's going up to the top. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's going over the top. What you want it really to do is make sure that it's the whole length, and it's really important that you have it right down to that base there. There we go. I'm giving that a good push because you want that, all that sticky, to meld with your paper. And now I'm going to lift that off carefully, and I find going in at the side generally is easier. Now again, as I say, you could use a hot glue gun at this point, but I honestly, the number of times that I use it and find that I just make a mess. I am a hot glue mess. So this for me is my preferred option. And where that's gone over the top, I'm just going to fold it down. It doesn't matter. Don't try and cut it because you'll just get your scissors all gummy. There you go. Super, super simple. Now here, simple little hemming exercise. Just fold it over. Just a tiny bit at the bottom and place that right on the end, and then you can pop your ribbon up. There we go. Done. Now just turn that round as if it was a handle. Make sure it's straight. Do the same again. Tiny little fold in for the hem. Pop that down. Oh. This tape is forgiving as long as you haven't pushed it down too hard. There we go. We just don't want any of that hem showing. And I think when Danielle did this, she popped a button on to make it look a bit more robust, but I think that looks great. So we've got one handle, goes beautifully with that paper. Turn that over. Now I'm not going to measure in this time because I know where my handles are, so I can just place my tape as I wish. So I'm just going to pop that right in the middle where that piece is. And the same here. Right on there. Perfect. Oh, use the right tools for the job, Sarah. So there is your tape off. And as I say, I wouldn't use tear tape and things like that, or glue. It's not going to be robust enough. I mean, these are not, you're not going to be able to carry heavy loads with this, but you just want to have enough to be able to carry a small box of chocolates or whatever gift you might want to pop in here. I always think it's nice to wrap up a few little pieces and pop them in a gift bag. So again, just making sure that handle goes round. Don't want any twists in it. And then just fold over that hem again. This would look lovely with a very robust, you know, sort of Hessian type ribbon. and make it look like a beach bag. But that is it, with the exception of one thing. So we're going to open that up again, and the last thing we're going to do is just pop one of those gussets in. That will just sit at the bottom. This is why I like the so you've just got that in there. It's and that will just take that beautifully. So there we go. So that's your piece of that's your large gift bag. So let's pop that down, and I can show you some others. Now, as I say, you could we've used the tape. Here's some we used earlier with some different ribbon and different paper, so you get a really nice contrast. Here's another one. This is my sort of first prototype that I did. And you get this lovely black and white. I've used this lovely black and white ribbon. It's got a bit of wire in it, or a bit of stiffness on the edge where it's stitched. I had these a bit lower down, but I've since, this is my prototype, as I said, for a class, and I just love the fact that it's got this crinkled look and gives you a really nice finish. I'm storing all of mine in that one at the moment. And this one here, I have used a hole punch for the holes, and then what I did was I had a longer piece of ribbon and I threaded it through. Rather than have the knots exert the pressure, I just put this inside. You can put knots in there, it really is up to you, but I just felt that that looked really pretty. So there you go. There are your great big gift bags, which are perfect for using up all that lovely DSP. Actually, I'm just going to do them like that and finish. So I run classes online and in person in Cobham in Surrey. So if you're interested, you can find me at kisscreative.com and Kiss Creative on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So I would love you to come and say hello. I'd love you to come on here, and I would love to see you have a go at this and share your projects on this group. Well, that's it from me. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and whatever you're doing, wherever you are, don't forget, keep crafting. Bye for now.